that idea with these, the privacy view one, with the water mounting, was that like a plan, or is that just?
Yeah, it's called blackout, that drawing. Yeah. So that drawing I just did. That's the most recent drawing in here, and I did that in the early spring. And a lot of times lately, I've been leaving. See, that paper is hand toned, so I'll take a piece of watercolor paper, and I will use acrylic paint to tone it, and you get a lot of the brush work in it, which gives it a texture. And so that's what I've been drawing on a lot of times lately. So that's why I leave the border, because you need something around it, and matting things like that can be really, really difficult. So actually it's yeah. Sorry.
Now, were you on the bridge at some point for that, and then took a picture, or you?
Yeah, so that, the big picture here, which is the largest piece in the show, that's from the Bayonne Bridge. It's the old Bayonne Bridge. It's the old Bayonne Bridge. Hopefully, some of you, when you came in, you saw outside the whole of the drawing, which is it's the long one at almost nighttime, right? And it's at the Bayonne Bridge. It has 2 decks in it, and that one shows both decks. They've raised it since I did this, and this one was probably around 2007, 2008, and it took me a long time, not because of its size, but to figure out how to do it. I used to really enjoy walking up there, and I would go up for walks a lot, and that and the painting directly across from it, that was done from the Bayonne Bridge on the Bayonne side. 2001, and this was probably 6 or 7 years later. And so I was like, I really wanted to do something big and, panoramic. And when I started thinking about, maybe I could include the bridge in, right, which is in the lower left-hand section, it became really much more interesting to me, because now it became kind of like a real kind of like expansive view standing in one point. And this was before, probably most of us have cell phones that have the camera which has the panoramic attachment, right? So it's very, very easy now to make a panoramic photo, but even then, that was not the case. And so making a panorama was something I would design it, through drawings and connecting drawings, putting a drawing down and then doing another drawing, connecting that in, because when you stand looking at a view like that, it's quite expansive,
So there were many sketches that went into
sketches and photographs, and I started a couple of years before, and you'll notice that there's some tires in the right. It was interesting because I would go back, and 2 years later, the tires were in the same place. And these are the things you begin to notice when you go back to a landscape over and over again. You begin to see things that like. Yeah. Not too many people see that.
Did you get incarcerated according to the sketch?
Oh yeah. Well, for a good number of years after 9/11, if I was out drawing or painting, I would have issues. And I've been in more than one patrol car. They don't take me anywhere, but yeah, it was really challenging. And they would stop by and they would say, hey, you can't photograph. And of course you can photograph. They don't want you photographing the bridges. Right? That was what was going on for a while. Today, I was on the Brooklyn Bridge a number of years ago at night, on a summer night, and the number of people who were taking photographs at that moment was like at any given moment, I'm sure right now, if you were to go up there, there'd be 2,000 people taking photographs. So it's a hopeless thing trying to not allow people to photograph things, right? But yeah, it's calmed down a lot. That particular issue has really calmed down.
I have a question about the Astoria.
Mm-hmm.
What made you do that piece?
I think if you try and explain it in words, it's interesting because, again, as I said earlier, it's like a feeling materializes in me that, like, wow, I'm in the presence of something here. Presence is a good word, and
It's like a calling. It's calling you to do
it
it.
is, and you feel intuitively the presence of a being. When I use the word being, obviously I don't mean a being like us, but there's all kinds of presence around us, I think, and somebody once said, what is the difference between a brick that had been in a prison and a brick that had been in a cathedral? Mm-hmm. So, I think there's things that we feel about things that are not on a narrative, on a cognitive level that we can figure out all the time. And for me, the form, the color, and that presence are the things that attract me. So that was the first day, and if you believe in fate, one of my students had told me, "Oh, you should go down and take a look where they're clearing out these woods on Arlington Road because there's old vessels in the water." So I went down, and it happened to be, it was around late April, right around Easter at the time, and it was like 4 or 5 o'clock, late in the afternoon, so the sun was low, and it was low tide. And all those conditions together, it was like stepping out, and I parked my car, and I started walking through the woods, and that was the first thing I saw. And it was all the way up on, what's the name of it? The street, I forgot, I don't know if you know, but there's a street where it's a very, in Westville, in Charleston, very unusual neighborhoods because they're residential and they're also commercial. Sharrods Road.
Yeah.
And and so this is the end of it by the water.
Yeah.
And what I actually did, I was all the way down where they built the tides, those condos, and I actually walked along the waterfront all the way up there because I got to find this. I don't know how to get there, so I walked up along the beach, so to speak, through the old remains of the brick factory and the bricks, and there was still a lot of stuff at that point. This is right before people began to realize, wow, there's brass all over. And so all these little, in fact, one is in here. I have a brass spike in the case here, which a man by the name of Clark Gable gave me. He lived right next door to the Astoria, and he had horses out. If you've ever been in that neighborhood, you may have seen this. It's very,
It's recorded as a golden hour.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
certain time of the day, it's just so.
Right, exactly. And I was like, so that was the first thing I found there, and then I started really exploring and finding all the other barges and things, and it was.
I love the reflection of it, the colors, it's amazing.
I'm fascinated with how you capture the quality of light in the, like, I've been sitting here, so one next morning, the sky and the water are so different, and
Well, light is the thing for me. I can draw anything if the light is. I should say, I can be interested in anything if the light is right. If it's like if I want to go out and paint and suddenly it's overcast outside. A lot of people like overcast lighting, but I don't. It doesn't attract me like light does. Light to me is spiritual. and I feel very strongly about it. So it'll totally change the subject for me when I see it in light. And sometimes at night, incandescent light can be really, really interesting too. There's a few night things that I put in here.
The one, how about the ferry on the other side? The ferry on that?
Yeah, the night boat.
Yeah. But is that an etching? That one?
The one right there in
Yeah.
the corner? Yes.
Yeah.
These are both etchings, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it just seems like it would be really difficult to capture light with an etching.
No, it's a drawing. It's a form of drawing, so if you can do it in drawing, you can do it in etching.
Yeah. But some of it's, you said, wiping.
To some degree, to some degree. Yes,
So much of the beauty of your work, for me, comes from the effect of stillness. I don't know if that's anything to comment
Stillness.
on. Stillness. It's very quiet.
Well, yeah.
I mean, regardless of technique.
Right. No, I think so. I mean, I think that we'd probably say a lot about stillness.
Want to say something?
Do I have to? I mean, it speaks for itself. Stillness speaks for itself. No pun intended.
Anything to do with Buddhism?
With
Buddhism?
Buddhism, well, I think so. In a way, I have a reflective practice of sort of meditation, which I think inevitably ties into what I do. But I don't know. It's an interesting point. You know, I mean, I feel like it's when I'm in the presence of some of these subjects, you know, alone with them, there's definitely, this is what I was trying to say before about the feeling of presence with it. Stillness is part of that for me.
You're saying this wrong. Great.
You mentioned her, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Margaret. Margaret. Yes. So Margaret's friend, Nora, was, I don't know if any of you know Margaret, but she was a very important person in many of our lives. She was a big patron, among other things, for me, among many other things.
I mentioned earlier, only realized or acknowledging that you lived in Atlanta about 10 years ago. I moved back to Texas. Well, I just moved here from Texas in February. And one of the first things that struck me is been on the South Shore, and I've been left off a great deal. And it took me a few months, not 10 years, to realize that the climate is completely different, especially the breeze coming all the way across the island, especially down there, perhaps more than it's a little colder than maybe up here. Consciously or unconsciously, I have a feeling to incorporate the climate of living on an island.
What about that? There's not too many snow scenes here. We're thinking about that. So that's interesting. I've been wanting to do this, but I wanted to see snow, but I never did. But
Must be unconscious.
I'm sitting here listening to you looking at this painting or drawing behind you, and we were talking about things having a soul, and then, you know, your original was kind of landscapes of decay, as you said, but, you know, it's filled with something. But it dawned on me, listening to you looking at that they have a soul in this presence, but they're no longer living, working, functional things. And I don't know if it's like what I like at this age, but there seems to be kind of bittersweet witnessing of mortality and seeing it as something in the past or still has relevance. You know what I mean? And that's what I find it's not personal, but it moves me as if it were.
I don't know if you had a chance to read what I wrote.
I did, but I don't remember because I had a point in my life.
So, you know, I had a show I called Undead, which was a show of these wagoners 15 years ago. And my feeling was that they were just as alive, certainly as when they were functioning. You know?
Would they have been as interesting to you?
I don't think so. I mean, it's like the difference has been walking around downtown Manhattan trying to find something to call. I always use the World Trade Center. You know, the World Trade Center isn't even around anymore. But I used to always think in terms of that. It's like, how can anybody draw that? You know, it's the lines of it. The lines of it is so uninteresting. You know? So if I'm going to draw something in downtown Manhattan, it would be Trinity Church, the churchyard. You know, and then you can this thing there. I can't help it. You're drawn to what you're drawn to. You know, you're attracted to what you're attracted to. And
So you were attracted to it even young?
yeah, I guess so. You know, but I was attracted to a lot. I did a lot of different subjects. But as I got older, I would say it did get parsed out to some degree. Where things as I said, seem to speak to you sometimes. As did all of those things under pressure that had been covered with lines for 50 years, you know, and even the land and that's called leading the witness. Nobody's making me choose. I mean, drawing is the most organic, natural thing, and that's what I've been doing lately. You know, as you get older, you get a little less mobile. It's harder to get out there and, you know, cover the waterfront. And so I find myself drawing, and you know what, that's drawing, more finished in a way, you know, but that's, in the last year or two, that's what I've been doing. It isn't necessarily what my mind wants to do, but it's what I'm attracted to, which is interesting too. I mean, you point your ship in one way, but that doesn't mean that's where it's going to end up. You know, it's interesting because it seems to be a bigger thing that makes those decisions for me. It's hard to explain what that could.
Bill, can you speak on that Liberty print? That's on that woman.
Which little print?
Right straight ahead.
Oh, Liberty. Oh, yeah. So I was, so that was mid-80s. And I was working, I was still doing some freelance, before I started teaching at Wagner, I was doing some freelance commercial art for a publishing company who was in Hoboken. And so I discovered that area. If you go through Bayonne and up the waterfront to Hoboken, and I had never seen it really before close up. And I discovered that view from the rear of the Statue of Liberty, and I thought it was fantastic. Again, you could walk right into that marshland, and I read that there were parts of 10,000 vessels left there, and that's what it looked like. It still looks somewhat like that, not to that degree, but and I just found it, you know, again, beautiful with so much to draw there, you know, and of course Liberty, Statue of Liberty, and so forth.
Is there a reason why for the large space on the left?
I think I got bored. Sometimes you say, am I really going to finish doing this? Does it really need that?
You felt like you were done.
It can be more interesting sometimes. You know, the worst thing is when you're working on something and somebody comes in and looks at it and they say, oh, that's fantastic, don't touch it. I was like, what do you mean? I just started this. I'm going to be working on it for the next 2 months. You know, and then Andrew Wyeth once said, he said, you know, the worst thing is showing work to somebody while you're working on it. And the problem is, if they like it, you're stopped. And if they don't like it, you're stopped. So if they say, this is fantastic, say, oh no, now I'm gonna ruin it if I finish it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and if they don't like it, oh, now I've lost, why continue? Yeah.
So besides John Noble, like as a young aspiring artist, were there any other artists that particularly inspired you or your work?
You mean that I knew personally, or?
No.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, through the history of art, I mean, luckily, there was an artist, who, if any painters, figurative painters, would probably know Jerome Whitkin, who, is, I consider my friend now, and I found his work, and I was knocked out by it. And through a series of odd coincidences in life, I got to meet him, and we got to know each other. And his work has been very, very important to me. Although his work is political, it deals with contemporary issues of all kinds, and mine doesn't, in an overt way anyway. And his brother, Joel Peter Whitkin, who's a very well-known photographer, also a twin brother. And interesting, if anybody is interested in taking a look on YouTube, there's a film called Whitkin and Whitkin about the two twins. And they were, Whitkin, W-I-T-K-I-N. But he's been an important person to me. But, you know, I mean, the artists that I like, pretty much, you know, probably kind of eminent, like American realists, like Edward Hopper, Thomas Aikens, Andrew Wyeth, very much so. Edwin Dickinson, great painter. I could go on.
Now, some of your paintings done from, artwork done from memory, or?
Not from memory.
Because one of my favorite is from one of my old ones, looking out on the Broad Street from Joe's Paramount Grill. And that hasn't been around since like, we're close up to the 80s or early 80s.
You mean the inside of the
the inside wall looking out, I was just wondering if you did that work back when it was still open, or if it was a photograph and just memories of that
I did
place?
that in 1990, and I talked to Mike Lee,
Okay.
and he said, yeah, come in the morning. So I'm never in the bar at 9 o'clock in the morning, but I went there, and I did some drawing, and I took photographs.
Okay.
And I did a large drawing, and then I did the lithograph. Actually, I did two lithographs.
It was nice to see that. It was like a pleasant surprise when I saw that in your collection.
Well, I like, you know, it's a landmark. I mean, so many people respond to that print. People of my age who spend time there. You know.
Oh, it's also one of the last things of the old breweries, was the tap room at R&H, right?
Yeah.
Is that the old R&H tap?
Yeah, the brewery was right next door.
Yeah.
The color across the way there at the end is what creates the light for you? Are those utilities, utility light, or is that those are container crates?
Yeah, I mean, those are whatever that is in the, over in Bayonne in the export. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, but Bayonne?
Yeah. Like it would be between Bayonne and Jersey City.
Mhm.
Yeah, the spot out there.
When you work and when you do paintings, do you like oils or acrylics?
Well, lately, when I painted acrylic with oil. Yeah. But I mean, I like oil. I mean, it has more issues with it, and I have a number of my friends that have become allergic to oil as they get older, so I've bypassed that. So it's pretty much. I think that's an acrylic painting. I did that from my car of a Richmond Terrace with the overpass. Oh yeah, you have that. Yeah.
That's acrylic?
Yes.
I took photos of
Are you kind of interested in metal? Maybe the old steel, or the old mills? Have you been down there? Maybe it's 2 hours out there.
You mean Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, I've been there, yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's sort of like if I was going there, if I were to go there and draw it would be like a tourist going there to draw. Okay, that's fine. But I mean, I sort of believe that the work that you do is the work that's around you, that's part of your life to some degree. The subject you know. I don't really know that. Yeah. If I lived there, I would.
Have you ever tried doing digital artwork, and what are your general feelings about it?
It doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me. It feels like a step away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, and I see things that people do sometimes. I go, that's nice, you know. But in the end, if I'm going to do that, why not do it?
Yeah,
reality.
I mean, I look around at your work, I don't see how it could be duplicated digitally.
It's funny because there is you know, I go to life drawing classes sometimes in Manhattan, and the first time, it's been 10 years ago, I saw a man with a laptop, and he was drawing the model on his computer, using all, you know, the program. And it was like, it was such a shock to see that going on, because, you know, I hadn't seen it, but now it's going to be integrated more, and but I don't think it's